It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 108 today. Really glad that you're with us, ready to go to enjoy this next hour together. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. Well, come on in. The pool is ready to go. The hot tub is fired up. The grill is going full bore with pork chops for everybody today. Fruits and vegetables off to the right. Cold drinks off to the left. Hot drinks inside. Even some desserts inside. Of course, we have the cigar bar in the back left corner of the pool. And guess what? We're adding something else today. A hammock. That's right. Right outside the pool screen between two trees strung up there. A hammock. You can lie out there and enjoy and take a nap. And later in the day, when the sun comes to that part of the yard, you can tan yourself in a hammock. How about that? Well, on today's show, part 2 of my interview with Jack and MARYANNE from FloridaNakations. Lisa Monroe, of course, will be here in just a few moments. We'll talk about a lot of things going on in naturism, including winter next weekend. The Women in Nude Recreation Weekend is next weekend. And in just a couple of moments, we'll hear from Paul Z. Walker. He, along with Ted Bunn and Will Forrest, have published yet another anthology. And hats off to them for all of their hard work. This was released on the 4th of July. And we thank all three gentlemen for all of their time and dedication on this very special project, another Naturist anthology. And now let's go ahead and listen to Paul Z. Walker.
Hello, Frank, Lisa, all the others at the studio, and also hello to all writers and all other artists who collaborated on the 6th Naturist anthology that came out on July 4th called Bare Skies Ahead. And of course, also hello to everyone who already bought the book and those who are still going to. No rush, do it today or tomorrow. Remember, everyone collaborated for free and all proceeds will go to support Doctors Without Borders. Will, Ted, and I had never expected this to happen. 6 anthologies, and this one is a veritable explosion of creativity. Imagine 30 people volunteering to donate their writing skills, with Will and Ted patiently going over all the words and lines, pointing out improvements, and not once but a few times to make each story shine in its own light. The first anthology, Murder in the Nudist Colony, came out in June of 2020. We're 5 years smarter now, and this is volume 6. 6! Can you believe it? That's more than 1 per year on average. That's nuts. And that's also great. What a way to spread the word about naturism, to entertain long and short time naturists, and how amazing to have so many genres available to do that. We've had mystery, romance, fantasy, sci-fi, and whatnot. And each story is a little or large jewel. I'm still surprised how authors started asking if there would be a next anthology. When, actually? Yes, authors asked this, and it is out now in all the usual watering holes that readers know and visit. The three of us, the triumvirate of naturist fiction as you call it, we're definitely not planning another volume, but thanks to popular demand, we gave in. Bare Skies Ahead was a labor of love, and it came out like that. So much inspiration from everyone who participated. So many delightful tales, long and short, and all of them welcome and positive. It was great to see all these people return to their writing space for this, and it was also wonderful to see new writing faces in this edition. Also a big thank you to Naked, Nudists and Naturists for giving us the airtime to promote these wonderful anthologies. We appreciate it more than we can say or write down. Know that we love what you do and not just for us. Will there be a 7th anthology? I don't know. Will and Ted also have to decide on that. I did get questions from previous contributors already, so anyway, thank you for this time on the show, and I hope we can speak again soon. All the best from Ted, Will, and Paul.
Paul Z. Walker, he's representing himself, and Ted Bunn and Will Forrest, they've come out with a brand new anthology. The link is in the show notes. We ask you to partake in that and enjoy all of the naturism stories that are out there. And of course, the money goes to Doctors Without Borders. Well, we hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a great week since we were last together. Lots of exciting things coming up on the show. Not only today, but down the road. We'll talk a little bit about some of those with Lisa Monroe in just a few moments. But really glad that you're with us. You're listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 108 today. And I don't know about you, but I think I hear some music in the background. Do you hear it? Listen. Yes, there it is. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and completely smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and completely smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, and I'm sorry. I guess I did dance in a little bit, so I know that annoys you.
I have never said that your dancing annoys me. I actually enjoy it. It's just while I'm introducing you, it can be a tad distracting, and I don't need to go into the reasons why, but I think you can kind of sort of figure it out. We'll just leave it alone. How about that?
Oh, probably better not to touch that. Anyway, maybe next time I'll bring in, I haven't brought cookies or anything in a long time. Maybe next time I'll just bring in a tray of brownies for you or something.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that. It's been a long time since I've had a Lisa Monroe brownie. What the heck is going on here?
I don't know. I know, and I make them extra special chocolate-y for you, so I'll try to do better next week.
All right. Well, we can be open and honest with our listeners. We have been gone for the last few weeks. We did some shows in advance to cover ourselves while we were on vacation. I actually got out of town for a bit. I was gone. You were gone. Jennifer was gone. 3 different places. But glad to be back. And I'll tell you about my little trip in a moment. But how about you? Where did you go and what did you do?
Well, mine wasn't as much fun as probably yours and Jennifer's was because I had a meeting, some corporate meetings. I do some consulting, so there were some seminars and stuff. So I had to play in the corporate world for a while, which was not fun. That means no running around the house naked. But then I did have a few days and went to see some family, and that was fun. And also, textile oriented, but still, it was good to see some people I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I stayed with family and friends, depending on the day or week or whatever, all non-naturists. And so I've been wearing clothes the better part of 2 or 3 weeks and not fun. And here's what I did. I drove home, pulled in the garage, clothes came off while I was still in the van. And then shut the garage door and then walk in like, okay, those babies are done for a long time. You probably did the same.
I did exactly the same. But then that was my modus operandi for years. I mean, I would literally be unlocking my front door and then unbuttoning something. So it's a good thing it was kind of private where my door was because those things came off in the hall. I picked them up later, actually.
Yeah, very well done. Now, the smartest person around here might turn out to be Jennifer. She went to a cottage in the middle of nowhere, as she described it, on a lake with her family, her mom, her dad, her brothers, both of the brothers' wives, and she took a female friend with her, all naturism all the time, except when they had to go into town. And they had no internet service unless they drove about 7 miles. And she said it's a combination gas station, convenience store, and some other thing she mentioned, like pizzeria, like one building, one business does all the business for this little town. That's how small it is. But she was clothes free the whole time, except when she had to go to town, and you and I are clothes on. So we might need to follow her a little more and pay attention.
I think so. In fact, we need to find the address of that place and go.
Yeah.
And that could be a real vacation. I'm off it. No internet. No. Oh, yeah, I could deal with that.
Yeah. But it's good to be back and good to see you again. And let's get into it. We have a Patreon page, as everybody knows. We did this show for free, gave up paid work to do it, not a bright business decision, but we did it on purpose anyway. But we did ask you for some support through our Patreon page well over a year after we started the show, almost a year and a half after we started the show. And many of you have come through, and we appreciate that very much. Lisa Monroe, who are our two Patreon peeps today?
Our peeps today are Brett and Leon, and we welcome you. Glad to have you with us. Hope you enjoy your time with us at this level, and we just appreciate the support.
Yes, we appreciate all of our Patreon peeps, and Brett, we appreciate you and Leon as well. How about merchandise? Anything going on there?
Well, actually, surprisingly, no, maybe not surprisingly, but getting busier and busier each day and seeing more and more orders per day, which is thrilling for us to see, because it's not so much that we're selling them, it's that people are wanting to, take that message and put it out to the world, which is, I think, a fabulous thing. And also, there is an addition to the Clothes-Free Living for All the Right Reasons line, because I missed a couple of things. And of course, one of the things I missed was something someone wanted and graciously let me know that they wanted the 20-ounce water bottle and with that slogan on it. So that is now, along with the other couple of things I missed, on the website. And also, I have a couple of new little surprises that are coming, and we'll talk about those next week.
All right. And how do people get to our merchandise page?
They go to nakednudistandnaturist.com, and at the top menu bar, it says in shop. Just click on that, and it'll bring you immediately to all of the pages. And then it has a little drop down menu. So if you want to go to the other pages, like to order something or anything, and find out about return policies, all that kind of thing, that's also there.
Okay. We're getting a lot of emails and photos from listeners showing off their hats, their T-shirts, their mugs, their glasses, their towels, whatever they're buying. And maybe one of these days we'll ask them to put that on social media. You can do that now, I suppose. We just haven't made an official request, but it's great to see naked nudists and naturists out there. Wear that proudly to the grocery store. I can't guarantee it will start a conversation, but you will get some level of attention. I'm guessing you agree.
Yeah, I do. And I think we had someone send in a message to us that said just that they wore their T-shirt out and people looked, but they didn't say anything. So at least he didn't offend anyone for some Karen to run up and start yelling at him. So thankfully. So that's a good thing. Maybe that's, look, any way we can get the message out, regardless of how it is, then I think, and if it looks like a normal, ordinary person who's into this, that's just even better.
Absolutely. Well, next weekend, July 26th and 27th, of course, we'll have a show on the 26th, but also next weekend is Women in Nude Recreation Weekend, sponsored by the American Association for Nude Recreation, and the big ringleader there is Andy Rogers. We've had her on the show multiple times, and in fact, next week, she will have a clip from her that she and her husband Tom visited a club recently. We'll play that clip. But Lisa Monroe, on the ANR webpage, they have a little blurb about Winter, Women in Nude Recreation Weekend. If you don't mind, go ahead and read that for us.
Winter Weekend will be celebrated at many ANR nudist resorts throughout the country. The weekend event will vary by resort, but many will feature women-only gatherings and have speakers about topics important to women in today's world.
All right. And I've talked to a number of women over the years, men too, but in this case, women, because we're talking about women. In the blurb, it talks about topics important to women in today's world. And the topic that I get said to me multiple times, I think every woman, literally every woman I've ever talked to about this has said this. They've had some other things to say too, but the number one is they want to feel safe. And of course, they want to feel loved, all that good stuff. But number one is safe. And at various nudist beaches and nudist clubs, they feel safe. So they will take off their clothes and experience the joy of naturism. If they're not safe, they won't, or if they don't feel safe. What do you think about that, or anything that we might have missed?
Well, I think, there are a lot of topics that are important to women in today's world, but I agree. One of the main things, and it's also important to me, is to feel safe. You want to feel safe when you walk outside your house. You want to feel safe when you're in the grocery store. You want to feel safe, in anywhere you're at, even within your own home. And one of the things that I think is so appealing about naturism is that everyone, male and female, are committed to a safe haven for all. It doesn't matter whether it's male or female. And that's important because, you know, men don't get this as much as women do, but some men have been subjected to, you know, taunts and harassment and all of those things. And after a while, if it happens enough, you get jaded about it, and you get to the point where you don't want to talk to anyone or be around anyone. So having that security of knowing that the people that you're around are protective in that respect, and you're not going to be subjected to such really awful things and words and actions. Yeah, this is a wonderful place to be. And naturism is giving women that sense of safety.
Yeah, very much so. I think I told you about, in fact, I know I told you, just haven't told the listeners, a guy I used to know, not really a friend of mine, but he was labeled by other people as less than Robert Redford or Brad Pitt status in terms of physical appearance. That's neither here nor there. We don't get into that. But every time you saw the guy, he had a really, by societal standards, a gorgeous young lady with him, you know, his age. I mean, he didn't date younger women, but people his age. And somebody said, "Well, how do you do that?" You know, I heard this one guy say, "I'm really good looking. I can't get women like you get." That, well, you know, this this was not a discussion for naturism. It was off topic. And he said, "Because I know how to treat women. They feel safe with me. They enjoy being with me, and they know going to have a good time and a safe time." And he said, "You might want to try it sometime." And that ended that conversation quickly. So yes, women want and need to feel safe. Otherwise, party's over, right?
Absolutely. And you know, in the workplace, I have as most women have in the workplace, had situations happen, and most of the time I just take care of them, brush them off. I Unfortunately, one day the vice president of HR overheard someone say something to me, and he went ballistic. And we were
Mhm.
good friends anyway, but he went ballistic, and he said, "Has he done that before?" "Yes." "You come to me." And he actually ended up taking care of the situation. He said, "This is out of your hands now."
Good,
And
good.
so that put that situation within that company framework, because we had someone who respected women in a position that could do something about it. And yeah, that's what we need to see.
Okay, well, very good. So, Women in Nude Recreation Weekend is next weekend, July 26, 27, sponsored by the American Association for Nude Recreation. And again, Andy Rogers is the ringleader, so looking forward to that next weekend. We also want to mention again, we have something new coming for the listeners here. We are going to start doing Wednesday shows, and starting on Wednesday, July 30th. So not this Wednesday coming up, but the Wednesday after. You'll get us on Wednesday at noon, 12 noon Eastern Time, in addition to Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Spotify. And Lisa, we've agreed that no guests on the Wednesday shows. We also have no prescribed time limit. It could be 10 minutes. It could be 180,000 hours, as I put in writing to a few people, or somewhere in between. We'll just start talking. And when we're done, we'll be done. Of course, we'll have topics to discuss. We're not just going to freewheel it and waste people's time. But no guests, and we'll just have a good time. People have asked for this. You've asked for this quite a bit. And we're doing some shows on Saturday mornings with no guests. But now we're going to do a show on most Wednesdays. It might even turn into all Wednesdays. I am certainly looking forward to it. How about you?
I certainly am. And I think it gives us a chance to kind of expound on some things that we talk about in the episode that week that we don't have time to fully discuss, and to bring up some things. You know, we get a lot of messages, we get a lot of emails, and we don't have time to read all of them. So it'll give us a chance to at least get to a couple more of those. So I'm looking forward to it. And as far as the time limit, it never has been a problem for us to talk. So we'll try to keep it shorter.
Yeah. Our 5 minute conversations go on 3 or 4 hours.
Yes.
Feels like 5 minutes, but no, it's been 3 or 4 hours. So we'll start that Wednesday, July 30th, 12 noon Eastern Time. More information coming next week and down the road. We want to mention Tim Chismar has been on the show quite a bit, especially in the early going. We even gave him a couple of episodes to run an interview with somebody else from the Naturist Society Foundation. Well, he has some movies he's working on, and one of them is coming out, I believe, in January. That's the last I heard. Naked as Created. I believe there's a name change there, and that's what it is now. Probably still a working title. Naked as Created. The story about Pastor Jim basically getting tossed out of his church because he was a pastor also a naturist, and they thought, well, you just can't be naked in the church, buddy. Which we've talked about that before. It's in the Bible. Everybody was naked at one time, including Jesus himself. We don't want to get into that today, but that's coming out in January as of now. Things could change. A lot of people in this movie who have been on our show before. So looking forward to it. You and I had a chance to view it. And any thoughts before we move on?
Well, I have to say that it's an intriguing story, and one I think that a lot of naturists can probably identify with. Even if they didn't lose their job, they're in fear of losing their job because of this. So it's one person's pathway to finding their way to be able to do both of the things that they love. That is to be a minister, and that is to be a naturist. And so I was pleasantly surprised, or maybe not, I shouldn't say surprised, but it's really a good movie, and it's got a good line to it, a story to it. So I think it's going to be quite entertaining. And for non-professionals in this movie, they didn't do too badly.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Not bad.
I think this came from a book that Pastor Jim wrote, and then Tim wrote the script for it. They've already shot the movie. They've been editing and put out the preview for it. So we appreciate you, Tim Chismar, and looking forward to more information down the road.
Absolutely.
Before we go, Lisa, we have an email from Jay from Miami. Jay was on the show last summer. He was promoting the restaurant in the Miami area, or in Miami. Once a month, I think on a Sunday, they would close the restaurant to outsiders, and it would be a naturist restaurant. The owner opened it, and you could come in, take your clothes off, enjoy each other, have a drink or two, have some hors d'oeuvres, have dinner, and just a great time was had by all. But Jay sent us the email. I'll start reading a little bit, and then I'll hand it over to you. Dear Frank, Lisa, and the NNN team! Exclamation point. I love those exclamation points around here.
Yes.
Congratulations on your 104th consecutive episode. Another exclamation point. As someone who eagerly awaits listening every week, I wanted to thank you for your amazing podcast. And I will turn it over to you.
Although I listen to you all on my way to the office in my uncomfortable business attire, Frank sets the scene of a clothes-free backyard getaway each episode, and it makes those commutes a whole lot better. On top of that, the episodes are like catching up with a good friend and listening to on a conversation with new ones.
All right, now I'll read the next paragraph. If only the whole world knew of the amazing power of stripping off our clothes and connecting with like-minded people. The best conversations I've ever had have been with people who have been clothes-free. And if you don't mind, go ahead and finish up.
We are truly ourselves when we are nude. So every chance I get when I meet a fellow nudie, I tell them about the podcast in hopes that eventually they too will spread the message of clothes-free living for all the right reasons to the world. I look forward to more amazing episodes and amazing guests in the future. With love, Jay from Miami.
Yep. And he said, the best conversations I've ever had with people have been clothes-free. You know, you and I played and occasionally still play the whole corporate world game where we put on our best attire, the most expensive suit I own, the most expensive dress you wear, or whatever, pantsuit, whatever. And we go in and dazzle people when we walk in, like, okay, here's somebody. They have really good-looking clothes on. So we know how to play the game. But it's all fake. It's all baloney, and I admit that very freely. When I do that, I feel like, what am I doing here? This looks stupid, but society buys into it. But you never have, I've never had anyway, a genuine conversation with anybody while my clothes were on. When mine were off and theirs were off, suddenly the whole world opens. You've experienced the same thing?
Absolutely. I mean, the corporate world is something that I kind of fell into after being in science for a long time. And I must say that I'd rather be in a lab coat if I'm working than in a suit, but it's definitely a different environment. And it's one that the suit is what's being presented to people. It's that it's a suit and it's your title or whatever. It's not you. They could care less. Right. And all of it is just corporate speak, and it's just very shallow and very idiotic. And we just do what we have to do.
You got it. And we thank you very much, Jay from Miami, for that very nice letter. We appreciate you very much. And Lisa Monroe, with that, we are going to have to head for the hills for a little bit, but you'll be back at the end of the show, right?
Yes, I will.
All right. So go out there and have a great clothes-free half hour or so. We'll talk to Jack and MARYANNE part 2, and we'll see you at the end of the show.
Okay, I'll be here.
All right. Sounds good. the very terrific Lisa Monroe. She does a whole bunch around here. Of course, these segments for you and for the show. She also handles our merchandise page, our website, and so much more. The very terrific Lisa Monroe. As a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, great. But if not, you can become one today. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation to membership, and within moments you will become a member of the American Association for Nude Recreation, just like I am, and just like Lisa Monroe is. How about that? Well, thank you for being with us today. You are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 108 today. And now let's get to part 2 of my interview with Jack and MARYANNE from FloridaNakations. I went to the one, I can't recall the name, in Florida, on the Space Coast, like near the Space Center. What's that one called?
Playa Linda.
That's it. Yeah, Playa Linda.
Yeah, Playa Linda. They've got Apollo on one side of Canaveral and Playa Linda on the other.
Yeah, I've not been to Apollo yet, even though that's the closest one to me. There's no excuse. I just haven't been there. Yeah. But I was Playa Linda maybe 30 years ago or so, 25. Yeah. So it's been a while. And I walked down there and I saw a number of women, probably 10 women, dressed in white polo shirts. And they had some kind of an insignia on the left side. And they had a pair of blue shorts on and each carrying a clipboard. I thought, well, okay, I don't know what I'm getting into. I just want to spend the day nude at the beach alone and, take in the sun and the breeze and maybe get a little swimming in. And they're walking around with these clipboards. And one of them went up to a guy who was just standing there. And he had the physical appearance and the stance of somebody who was in charge. I mean, he wasn't just a regular, I'm going to see what's going on. He looked like he was the boss of something. Yeah. And she went up to him and started talking. And I tried to overhear a little bit. Turns out what these women were doing was they were going up and down the beach looking for, lack of a better term, lewd behavior. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that they could quickly shut it down so that the government doesn't come up and say, got to close the nude beach. There's too many people having, sexual relations.
Correct.
So it's probably not a bad way. I mean, it's maybe not the best way to handle it, but at least they're handling it. Yeah. And that's what gives us the bad name. You got the one or two knuckleheads who, hey, we're naked and free. Let's do some stuff we shouldn't be doing in public. And then everybody gets in trouble, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what shuts a lot of the beaches down, unfortunately, is that type of activity. And that's why you need a pretty well organized beach ambassador program on those beaches to really monitor that and to work, in conjunction with the beach patrol people, the parks department and the sheriff's department. Mm-hmm. Have a good working relationship really with them to, maintain that, because unfortunately it just seems to be the human nature, that things like that kind of be taken advantage of, but you need to watch over it, just stop it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned in California, you mentioned Black's Beach, and I know there's Bates Beach.
Oh, Bates,
yeah. Is there one near San Francisco?
Don't know.
Okay. But in Florida, we have 4, and we've talked about 3 of them, but can you list all 4 for us?
It's Apollo Beach, Playa Linda, Blind Creek Beach, which is the newest.
Okay.
That's the one down
on
Hutchinson Island.
Okay.
And then there's Hallover, obviously the oldest one there. Those are our 4 legal ones. It's not that people don't go nude on other beaches. People try to sneak it in here or there, and where it's, but it can't be promoted. It's not legal. They can be arrested. I know they do it. We don't condone it as organizations because we're trying to work within the legal realm and the political and business realm to do this right.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you get all these free agents going out there getting arrested because unauthorized place, right?
Yeah, and it creates a bigger problem for us trying to get it legalized.
Yeah, because when you show up and start asking questions, they say, well, we arrested 10 people last month, and then you have an issue on your hands that you didn't even create, right?
Yes, correct. Right, yeah. Yes. So, it takes a little more looking over. I mean, luckily, we have the resorts, which are protected, that's why, FloridaNakations mainly works with Family Friendly and Anner, obviously, because we're hoping that, they're all watched over and protected. And the resorts the beaches we work with have a beach ambassador program, because, yes, you need that to keep the industry rolling and keep the public from getting too pissed off at it, I guess you might say.
I think the nudist beaches really are watched over more closely than the other beaches. To tell you,
Oh, I'm sure they are. Yeah. I said I used to vacation a lot in the West Palm Beach area. The island is Singer Island.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
literally, okay, you know where it's at. And
Yeah.
I was told, because, I'm always scouting. Now I kind of know the lay of the land, but back then I was always scouting for naturist opportunities. And I was told, and then I found it online as well, toward the north end of Singer Island, and it's really not that big of an island, maybe a
No.
mile or two at the most. The north end, there's you can lie out on the beach nude. And I thought,
Yeah.
well, all right, now here we go. And so I drove up there, and I didn't get out of my car because I don't want to be one of those guys looking around with clothes on and all these naked
Oh,
people.
right.
But I
Right.
thought if I see somebody or I see a hat or a towel, oh, then I'll stop. And I
Yeah.
saw nobody. And I
Yeah.
probably drove by there 10, 20 times. Nobody every single time. And that was over a period of years. So at some
Yeah.
point after I stopped going there, I think the last time, well, I guess I vacationed there maybe 10 years ago, but otherwise that's it. I asked somebody, I was told there's a nudist beach on Singer Island, but I never found it. And they said, yeah, it's at the north end. I said, but I drove by there 10, 20 times and I never saw it. They said, did you get out of your car and walk down past? There was a wall
Yeah.
up there or a fence. And I said, well, no. And they said, well, that's your mistake. Past that fence, you
Yeah.
can be nude. It's not legal, but everybody understands it and everybody accepts it on the island. That, well, but even that in and of itself is a little dangerous to try to do, right?
It is. It is, because that's been one of these struggles in the state. When it was private land, just similar to Honeymoon Island over on the West Coast, those were privately owned islands back when, and MacArthur owned MacArthur, and Singer Island was on MacArthur Beach and all that over there.
Yeah.
And when it was privately owned, nudism was allowed. In fact, MacArthur had it in his agreement when it got sold that it remained a naturist thing. But
it did not.
when the state took it over, the DEP rules overrode anything, and no nudity was allowed on any of those beaches legally.
Wow.
Not that people don't walk and hide and all that stuff, but legally, it's not allowed. So that's where Singer Island fell into play. And there's been a many years of legal and political effort to try to override a lot of that stuff, and it still has a ways to go
Yeah.
before that can happen, I think. But yeah.
Well, when you think about Florida just by itself, there are hundreds and hundreds of miles on the Atlantic Ocean and also on the Gulf of Mexico. You know as well as I do, there are a number of secluded areas. We don't have
Yes.
homes and condos every square inch. And so that's where some people go sometimes. And
Yeah.
I will admit, hope law enforcement's not listening, but I'll admit I find those places every once in a while totally secluded, no
Yeah.
chance of anybody seeing
Right.
me. But then I always feel like, here I am sneaking around.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's not good.
Right. And that we want to get rid of that feeling of that.
Yeah, and even though it's totally, it's not legal, but it's accepted. Everybody knows about it. But it's still you have that gnawing feeling like, why can't I just boldly walk up instead of driving, multiple miles out of my way? There's one
Right.
country, I forgot what the country is. I want to say Spain, could be wrong about that, so don't hold me to it.
Yeah.
Every beach in the country can be considered a nude beach.
I think you're right. I think someone told me it's Spain. Yeah, I think you're.
Okay, and then you
Sure.
can be nude on any beach.
Yeah.
And then I think it's either Australia or New Zealand. Whoever shows up to the beach first on a given day, it's either a textile beach or a nude beach, depending on what that first person does. You show up, you're first, you take your clothes off, it's a nude beach for the day.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a bad way to go. Other than if you're planning, if you don't want to go to a nude beach and you show up hoping it's a textile beach, that's a problem. And vice versa as well. I'm going to hang out at the beach nude today, and you show up and there's 50 people with their bathing suits on because they got there first. So,
Well, I think in Spain and a lot of Europe, it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
You can wear a suit or not wear a suit. I'm pretty sure I've been told.
Yeah.
So the Europeans have a totally different, viewpoint on all this compared to this country.
Yeah.
If we were to show up on Daytona Beach and take our suit off, you know where you're going pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's part of, going back to FloridaNakations, is to show that demographic that at least we have options for them here. It's not as free as Europe. You can't just go to any beach and do this. In fact, one guy who donated $500 to FloridaNakations was in our first years from Hungary,
Wow.
and they were used to it.
Yeah.
And and they used to go to beaches over here and do what you did, being it was okay and normal and stuff. And when him and his wife were there, not much happened. She was ill once, and he went out once on his own. He got arrested
Oh, no.
and had to go through. He got through it all,
Yeah.
but it hurt some of his business aspects he was involved in and everything. So when he heard about FloridaNakations on us doing what we want to do, he immediately gave us $500. Because he understood that the European crowd, this is normal to them. They would love to know they can come here as part of their vacation and have places that's normal for them here.
Yeah.
So our goal, as far as FloridaNakations, was to educate them and at least give them linking sources to find all that. Because there's a big difference in how it's looked at there and here, no doubt about it.
Oh, not even close. Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah.
We were talking to Jack Clark this morning and MARYANNE Reddick. They're from FloridaNakations. And Jack or MARYANNE, tell our listeners how to find you online, give your website out, or any information you want to put out there so people can find out more about you and maybe even read this report I've been referring to.
Okay, well, as far as the website, we have for FloridaNakations, it's www.FloridaNakations.com. Very easy to find, but they can email us also. Both they can email me at jack@FloridaNakations.com or MARYANNE Reddick @gmail.com. So it'd be her name altogether, MARYANNE @gmail.com. Dave, you can email Dave @FloridaNakations.com. And so it's very easy to find us, no doubt about that. And we're glad to answer questions. I mean, that's never an issue.
Okay, and again, that link is in the show notes, but Nakations is spelled a little differently. It's N-A-K.
Correct.
Yeah.
A-T-I-O-N-S. But again, that's in the show notes. Listeners, best thing, just go to the show notes, click on it, take you right there.
And they can find an email to contact us one way or another. One of us will get it, and we're glad to respond back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a couple of the questions that you put out through this survey, the public talking to the government to set aside clothing optional areas, it looks like it's almost 70% are saying, yeah, we should do that. Set aside clothing optional areas. Now, that seems beyond fair to me. Have you received any pushback from government officials even on that?
They take the statistics and they look at them and they kind of understand it. Their biggest thing is they may say this is a good idea. A lot of them will say that, yeah, this is actually a very good idea. It's both good because socially people want it. Money-wise, we'll make money off of it. They're concerned. I mean, and I understand politicians, obviously, they're voted in.
Right.
A concern is the public response.
Public
Right.
perception.
Of it.
Always, yeah.
And that's a big hindrance to any of this because of how, again, in this country, it's perceived. And it's perceived, even though people may want to do it, it's still I was brought up the same way. I was brought up feeling it was a bad thing. It's just in your mind, because our public perception of it's that way. Not that anybody directly said it, but it just was part of our society.
Yep.
So their concern is that how do we do this, but do it in a proper way that we can work with the public. There's not too much of an uproar.
Yeah. Well, even,
then,
when I was a kid, I've told this story before, I was allowed to be clothes-free my whole childhood, even teenage years. And
okay.
I
Lucky
basically
you.
never had clothes on. Yeah. And I remember one day I got dressed for school and I was a little bit different. Let's just say I would wear dress shirts to high school.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I stuck out like a sore thumb, but I thought that's just how I am. And so I put a dress shirt on. And instead, I always have the top button undone because you don't have a tie on. You leave the top button undone. But I thought I'm going to be cool, and I'll unbutton two buttons. Now I'm a swinging dude here. And as I started to walk out the door, my own mother, who totally supported and still supports naturism, said, "Hey, do you have two buttons undone?" I said, "Well, yeah." She goes, "No, you have to button one of those up." I said, "But why?" She was, "Because you're going to school. You're not going to a nude beach. You're not going to impress anybody. You're just going to get yourself in trouble with the principal if you show up that way." And I knew she was right, but it still ticked me off. Like, I can't, I'm as a man, you know, we can get into a whole that discussion on another show, but
Yeah.
you know, women kind of have to keep buttoned up, but men, I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, even then, you have two buttons undone. You might get in trouble. It's like, well, if they could only see me at home, Mom. Yeah, and they won't. So
They
same
won't
old
see you
story.
now.
I don't think it's ever changed over the years,
Yeah.
has it?
No, that part hasn't. But then we're hoping to. I mean, it's a lofty goal.
Yeah.
But our goal is, I mean, obviously with FloridaNakations is to be out there and change that look, people how look at us.
Yeah.
You know, and change how the business community looks at us. So
definitely. Well, one of the statistics I like a lot on your, I think it's page 14 of your report, and again, this is accessible on your website, FloridaNakations.com. Unmet demand. The estimate is 70 million naturist nudists countrywide in the USA don't feel like their needs are being met. They want places to go, and there aren't enough places to go. Is that still fairly consistent? Has it gotten bigger, smaller, or do we know?
I don't know. You know, I don't think they've done any more demographics on that. I'd have to ask, the Anna office if they've done any more on that over the years. That was that big survey done way back when. I know Neff has done a few other little surveys too. I might be to get some information from them, but the demand is there. Yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of home nudists,
Oh gosh, yes.
but they won't leave that area. They
Right.
don't know, or they're afraid, or they're concerned about the acceptance level. So there is a pent up demand. I mean, so there's no doubt about it. And the more we open it up, the more you'll be able to get, those numbers into that world and be able to realize what they can enjoy. But yeah, you're right. There is a big pent up demand for it all.
Yeah. And I suppose it depends on where you live. It might even differ street to street, and let alone city to city or part of the state to another part of the state. But where I live, naturism is kind of sort of accepted as normal as long as you keep it normal, which sounds kind of strange to say. But, if you go naked up and down the street or go to your mailbox naked, probably somebody might have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But if you're at your pool or you're sunning in the backyard, nobody cares. Even if they see you, I mean, they say, yeah, whatever. Let him do his thing. And so there's a more relaxed atmosphere in Florida.
I think so.
But not relaxed enough, right? We still have some people who, kind of want that to go away. Now, on the subject of businesses, what if we had, for example, a hotel that either became a nudist hotel or a clothing optional hotel every day of the year, or even one day a week, or whatever? Is it your belief that they would probably get a lot of customers?
They probably would, but they'd lose a lot right now. Probably because they would lose their clothing people who probably, would shy away because, again, of the public perception. Getting over that, I think there's been talk of it. I know we talked with a developer who would like to do something like that. I know Shirley's been in talks for years with people of hopefully. They used to have one nude-friendly hotel that was right at Hollover, one of the older hotels, but it got bought down. So, there... And then there was they tried that one in Daytona. What was it? Faulty Towers.
Okay.
They attempted.
Oh, no, that was Cocoa Beach.
Cocoa Beach. They attempted a nude hotel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For a short time. It didn't last.
Faulty Towers, it lasted several months, but then it went, for some reason, it was closed down.
It unfortunately, I think it's a great idea. I think, again, we shouldn't care. But it unfortunately puts a stigma right now on that business of trying to do it because of the groundwork isn't there.
I do know in Daytona Beach, I don't know if you know the group Crossed Oaks Haven. She had set up a weekend, which went really well for a nude weekend in one of the hotels. Just for that, they blocked everything off and had one nude weekend there.
How did that do? That they sell the place out?
I think it went fairly well.
Well, that's very good to hear. I know there are places around the country. I want to say Wisconsin and Pennsylvania come to mind, probably because I read about them. They'll have nude bowling. Well, they'll rent a bowling.
We do it down here too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All over the place, or where you're at?
Orlando is the main one. We had it one night in Zephyr Hills, but I don't know what why they don't have any more there. But anyway, Orlando is the major place where a lot of people do their nude bowling.
Okay, so I'm guessing what they do based on these other places, they'll just rent the whole place
Yeah.
out for a few hours.
Yes.
And do they lose textile bowlers because of it?
I doubt it, because bowling alleys have a lot of slow times.
Yeah.
And I think they take that period whenever's a slow time, and that's when
And
they
then
can do it.
Yeah, they like a Sunday at morning, afternoon, they, open it up just for they close it just for the nudists to have an event there.
I think it's gotten so big at the one in Orlando, they fill it. So
Yeah.
bowling alley's not losing money.
Yeah.
Because I think they pretty much, it's a small one of the smaller alleys, but it gets filled up. So, it is opportune things to plan. I mean, there are plays over on the East Coast down in Fort Pierce or West Palm Beach or somewhere. There's a playhouse where they can have nude plays, or the audience can be nude.
Audience can
Okay.
be nude.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
we'll do that once a month. I think Blind Creek will have one once a month.
Okay.
A thing going on. So that has worked well. We've tried to find a few places on the West Coast, but there's a little concern by some of them that, who've had issues in the past and with governmental things. So, we understand all that. But if you go to England, if you go over there, you'll notice a lot of nudist events are occurring outside of nudist venues.
Okay.
They've moved them out into museums, parks.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're expanding outside of that controlled things like we have here. Well, again, a little bit more freedom in Europe to do that.
Right.
And it's becoming extremely popular because of that. I think their roles in their organization are growing over there. We're having some issues in this country nationally and stuff. There it's growing because they're getting outside and being able to do that stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, if we can work on that here, it would be great.
Now, you take a place like a bowling alley, that's a privately owned enterprise. It's not government land or anything else. So the business owner, for a few hours, let's say on a Sunday, you have to be a nudist to get in, or however they work that out.
Right.
Do they ever get any pushback or angry
No.
government officials?
I can't speak for that directly.
Yeah.
I can speak for someone we talked to attempting something like this.
Okay.
And this was more for, again, we'll talk to Beaches another day, but we're trying to do a fundraiser, and we talked to a business. I won't say who or whatever, but,
Right.
If we want to do this, blah, 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 could we do it? They had no problem with it, but they had already run into an issue during that year or two with the drag queen or drag shows, where there was an issue in Florida.
Right.
And they blacked it all off. Someone happened to peek in, and something happened, and either the county or someone came down on them. There were issues. So, it is the problem, where you're doing it, how you're doing it. And so it's not as easy, but luckily the one in Orlando, they've been doing that for years.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have one right here outside Gilly Como. We had a bowling alley between Como and Paradise Lakes.
Wow. Isn't that great?
Apparently before I was ever here, they had it there every week. I think it might have been a new bowling time. It's now an auto collision center, but
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, a business can close itself and say nude only for the next few hours or days or whatever they want to do. And for the most part, they're okay as long as they just keep the untoward folks out, which I know they do their best.
Right.
The people renting the facility keep those people out as well. So that helps.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, before we go, a couple of things. You've mentioned Tampa Free Beaches, and we are going to set up a totally separate interview for that.
Yeah,
that's why we
two separate animals. Yeah.
Yeah, so our listeners know we're not avoiding it. We've already talked about it. We're going to have two separate interviews.
Well,
it still blows me away that we have nothing on the west coast of Florida, the Gulf side, in terms of a nude beach. Again, we'll get into that when we get into it, I guess, down the road. But what I just briefly want to ask each of you, and you don't have to go on forever, just in general, how did you discover the naturism lifestyle? Now, Jack, you mentioned a few moments ago when you were a kid, it was basically clothes on, you can't be naked. Well, obviously that's changed. So what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I've had to say this. They did articles a few times. I've had to say this story a lot. But I mean, yes, I grew up not with the understanding that wasn't what you did.
Yeah, right.
Yet there was something in the back of my mind that seemed to be I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I never did. Because everybody joked about it, or it just seemed still in the garage. It's not something you do.
Mhm.
And then I had my office up in Rhode Island, so I'm not optometrist. So my office was up in Federal Hill, which was my mom's side is Italian, so the Italian neighborhood. And so it was my uncle's office, and I took it over, and I had patients who used to come in, and they'd joke all the time, 'cause one of them lived near Dyer Woods,
Mhm.
which is the nudist resort in Rhode Island. So there was a
Okay.
lot of joking going on between that and the beach, them moons. So I just never felt comfortable that I could go in Rhode Island being such a small state.
Cool.
They're gonna know I'm there, and it might be
Yeah.
rushing back. So until I get to Florida, and you're gonna laugh. MARYANNE laughs, Dave will laugh. I'm normally a nervous wreck. I never talked to anybody my whole life, hardly.
Okay.
I don't believe
I
it.
went to school and went home.
Yeah.
Even when I went to grad school, I commuted into Boston, went home. I had the
Yeah.
business, I did the work, and went home. I had my
Mhm.
office. There was something about me that was very scared of myself, I think.
Yeah.
And I came to Florida, and about 2 years after I was here, just said, well, I'm going to search this out, and I found Playa Linda Beach. So, okay, nobody knows me down here. I can go experiment maybe a little bit. And so I drove myself over there, and I was a nervous wreck.
Yeah. Okay.
And the second I took my shorts off, my world changed.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I was me.
Yeah.
Before then, I felt I was kind of had to act like someone else.
There you go.
And people might not like me if I was really me, I think.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was me
Yeah. Well, that's what clothes do to us. We change ourselves
too, and how
because
we
the clothes
present.
changes. Yeah, exactly.
So that just led to a whole cascade of things, and I don't want to get into too much, so then I start to cry.
Right. Yeah. No,
But
I
it really
understand.
changed my life. From there, it got me into Central Florida Naturists as a group.
Yeah.
They were kind of the group running Playa Linda at the time.
Okay.
That got me into Cypress Cove, which I really didn't fit, but that got me to Como, which led me into a lot of things, which led me to meet MARYANNE and have our life now.
Mhm.
And it led me into doing all this.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed my life so much
Yeah.
that I want to do everything I can so it's around for someone else.
I'm glad you found it. Glad you're doing
And
it.
so it's a
Yeah.
passion, really.
And for
Absolutely.
me,
Yeah.
when my husband had passed away, we started out at Apollo Beach, up there, and then he didn't like the sand, so we found Lake Como. It's about 2004. And I started going to we started going to the, between Lake Como and, it used to be Gulf Coast Resort. And then when, he had passed away, I didn't think it was good for a single woman, but I really realized later on, if you go out into the textile world and you're really going out somewhere, you're taking your chances, not knowing people.
Yeah.
And the nudist area, Lake Como, was a much safer place for a woman.
Definitely. Well, what got you to the point where you decided to be clothes free and even go to a resort? Were you raised that way or no?
No.
Okay.
No, we had just started going, and like I said, when he had passed away, I had decided, well, maybe I shouldn't. But then I realized, because going out with a few people, and I realized that I was safer in the nudist areas, resorts. I went to Cypress Cove, I went to Lake Como, and I was safer because number one, if there's an issue, you have somewhere to go and report it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So.
So when I met Jack, and then we came here to Lake Como, we're living here, and then we started the Tampa Bay Free Beaches, and which led to FloridaNakations, which led to,
Who knows what's next, right? You might.
yes.
I don't think we have any time left for anything else.
Hey, you never know. We're going to live to 150, so lots more of life to go here.
Oh, yeah. I tell them I'm stubborn. They're stuck with me at Lake Como.
That's right. That's the way to do it.
I'm not going anywhere. They're going to put up with me for a long time.
Right. That's the way to do it. Well, it's been great to have talked to both of you. We've been talking to Jack Clark and MARYANNE Rettig from FloridaNakations. And if you have anything to say to them or want advice or you have some suggestions, I know they'll welcome that.
Oh, yeah.
And Jack, give the website again if you don't mind.
It's www.FloridaNakations.com, and that's NAKATIONS.com.
All right. Well, thank you very much. A great organization that you have that you've put together. And by golly, if it's the last thing the three of us do, we're going to get this to the point where you can just be nude on the beach in Florida, knock off the nonsense, and let's just have some fun, right?
It's not going to be the ultimate goal, but we'll do our best.
All right. Well, Marianne, thank you. Go out there and have a great close-free day. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. And Jack, too. Bye. Well, the very terrific Jack and Marianne doing amazing work for the state of Florida through FloridaNakations. And we appreciate them and their work very much, and we thank them for their appearance on these last two shows. And on the next two Saturday episodes, we will speak with Gary Messel, the original president of the SCNA out in California, and also a former president for the American Association for Nude Recreation, the West Region, and also an author. And before we go for the week and bid you farewell, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
I told you I'd be back, and I came bearing a fresh cup of coffee for you.
Yes, and how do you spell the word bearing in this case? Just asking for a friend.
Don't you dare ask me that. You know, I never was very good in English. I think it's BEARING.
It is. I was just being silly there. But you're bearing all while bearing some coffee or something like that.
Yes,
there's a joke in there somewhere. I just didn't manage to find it.
There is somewhere. We might find it eventually, but
That's
anyway.
Right. It was great to talk to Jack and Marianne about FloridaNakations. They really have their acting gear, and they're doing tremendous work for the state of Florida and all of the naturists here. They're involved with Tampa Free Beaches. We'll get them on somewhere down the road to discuss that as well. But what an amazing couple of people, and really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed listening to them.
Oh, I certainly did, and I'm sure everyone else did as well, because what they're doing is phenomenal. I mean, naturism and nudism resorts and these things are popular. They're places people who are naturists who have no other place to go where they live want to come to. And it's just, to get that word out and to have people understand that, and to also understand what the economy is bringing that to an area. It's just a wonderful thing. They're doing a very, very good, worthwhile job.
$7 billion, that's billion with a B, that should get anybody's attention, especially politicians. Hey, I can do a whole lot for my state with this kind of money. I'll be a hero. So yes, you can be. So let's get it together. And again, hats off to Jack and Marianne. On the next two Saturdays, we'll be interviewing Gary Messel. He was the original president of the SCNA, Southern California and Naturist Association. I think that's the correct title. But he was also the president for AANR West. An amazing guy. He's also an author. We'll talk to him. And he has a lot of great information, wisdom, when it comes to naturism and how to promote it and what we're doing right, what we should be doing. So looking forward to those two episodes as well, and I'm sure you are as well.
Oh, I am, because anyone with that kind of experience, involved in this, in our community, is just a great help to everyone. As the torch gets passed, we need to also get that wisdom of how to do things.
Mm-hmm. And a very quick hats off to Paul Z. Walker, Ted Bunn, Will Forrest. We had Paul on at the beginning of the show discussing the new anthology. We encourage people to get it. The information is in the show notes. And Lisa Monroe, with that, we are going to have to head for the hills, and we will see you next week. Have a great close-free week until we meet again.
You too, and I hope everyone else has the same, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 108 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here, and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked, and join us again for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.